Dear students, let us continue our discussion on air pollution control measures. What is electrostatic precipitator? An electrostatic precipitator is a filtration device that removes fine particles like dust and smoke from a flowing polluted gas using the force of an induced electrostatic charge minimally impeding the flow of gases through the unit. In ESP, the energy is applied only to the particulate matter being collected and hence is very efficient in its consumption of electricity. So here we are discussing what is the meaning of an electrostatic precipitator or what is an electrostatic precipitator. Electrostatic precipitator is represented as ESP. So ESP is in fact a filtration device. So it is a filtration device. It can remove fine particles like dust and smoke from a flowing polluted gas. So this filtration is done on a flowing polluted gas. And what is the technique? We are using, say, the force of an induced electrostatic charge minimally. So we are using an induced electrostatic charge on, say, flowing gas or flowing polluted gas. And now the flow of the gases is slightly impeded. Slightly. Impeded means, say, it is blocked. Slightly. The speed will be slightly minimized, So in ESP, the energy is applied, that is the electric energy is applied only to the particulate matter being collected, and that's a peculiarity of the ESP. Cottral electrostatic precipitator. Electrostatic precipitator, also called electrostatic air cleaner, is a device that uses an electric charge to remove impurities, either solid particles or liquid droplets from air, gases in smokestacks and other flues. Flues means the emissions from the factories, say the emissions from chimneys, or it will be usually hot gases, hot polluted gases. The precipitator functions by applying energy only to the particulate matter being collected without significantly impeding the flow of gases. Originally designed for recovery of valuable industrial process materials, electrostatic precipitators are now used for air pollution control, particularly for removing particles from waste gases at industrial facilities and power generating stations. So you have to remember that this Cottral electrostatic precipitator is particularly employed for removing particles from waste gases at industrial facilities and power generating stations. Now this precipitator, that is electrostatic precipitator, say it functions by applying energy only to the particulate matter being collected without significantly impeding means to prevent the flow of gases. So electrostatic precipitator, you are given the figure of an electrostatic precipitator. It is very evident. You can see the entry of the polluted air. You can see the arrow, and you can see the clean air is the outlet of the clean air. So the dust particles are collected at the, say, below of this electrostatic precipitator in a hopper, and it can be removed, Extraction ventilator. Whole house mechanical extract systems extract water vapor and smells at source from the wet areas, ducting it away to a central extraction unit, which in turn ducts the stale air directly to the outside of the building. Fresh air is introduced into the other rooms via trickle ventilators. Trickle ventilators means a very small opening to allow small amounts of ventilation and circulates throughout the home. The system runs continuously on low speed. The boost facility can be activated via various controllers and senses depending upon the unit. General extraction systems ensure the right atmosphere with minimized ventilation and maximum retention of valuable warm air in winter time. So, the extraction ventilator is also a mechanical system. It's a mechanical extract system, say that it can extract water vapor and smells from a polluted source. It can duct it to the central extraction unit. From there, this collected polluted gases or the polluted air be taken, say, directly to the outside of the building. Simultaneously, fresh air can be introduced via trickle ventilators. This extraction ventilator runs continuously on low speed. Now the boost facility, that is the speed of the system, so it can be activated by various controllers and sensors, and that depends on the particular type of the unit or a particular type of the system. General extraction systems ensure the right atmosphere with minimized ventilation and maximum retention of valuable warm air in winter time. You are provided with the figures of different extraction ventilators: air extraction system, smoke extraction ventilator, and air extraction ventilator. All these devices are mechanical devices and they are used for air purification. Zoning and green belt. First of all, let us see what is a green belt. Green belt lands refers to a zone that is kept reserved as an open space, most often around larger cities. I repeat, green belt refers to a zone that is kept reserved as an open space, most often around larger cities. The main purpose of green belt policy is to protect the land around larger urban centers from urban sprawl and maintain the designated area for developing community forests, as well as to provide habitat to birds and wildlife. So in fact, green belt means that is, say, certain area which is to be developed as a forest or a community forest. Zoning. Zoning is the legislative division of a city or country into areas or zones to specify allowable uses for property and size restrictions for the construction of buildings within these areas. Mega cities are facing explosive growth in the last few decades. Such growth ends with serious environmental problems like air pollution, water pollution, and soil degradation. Moreover, it creates inadequate urban infrastructure development. This growth also creates chaotic mixture of urban and rural land use in the fringe cities. In recent times, zoning and green belt additions are considered as an integral part of developing cities to encourage controlled urban growth. The meaning of zoning is in fact the division of a city or country into different areas or different zones. Certain areas can be used for the construction of buildings. Certain areas should be kept for the development of community forest, and certain areas should be kept or reserved for the development of a children's park, like that. Or in certain areas, we cannot construct buildings above a particular height, like that. The zoning is in fact, say, a technical term in the development of, say, mega cities. So the unscientific development creates a lot of problems, particularly air pollution, water pollution, and soil degradation. By planning, by proper planning, or by zoning, we can minimize air pollution, water pollution, and soil degradation to a greater extent. Advantages of green belt. Trees help in removing carbon dioxide and other pollutants from air, and they release oxygen to the atmosphere. Thus, the air quality is improved by green belts. The green belt development can remove particulate matter from the air by trapping such particulate matter. A green belt reduces the intensity of sound. Trees can deflect, refract, or may absorb sound to reduce its intensity. Trees can modify the humidity and maintain climate. It prevents soil erosion, improves soil quality, and binds soil particles. So you are given in a nutshell the advantages of a green belt. So in a green belt, actually there is a particular area where we plant trees and we develop a forest or a community forest. Now these trees in this community forest or this artificial forest, so they can absorb carbon dioxide and they release, say, oxygen to the environment. The trees can even absorb pollutants and they can, say, improve the quality of air. Now the green belt can remove particulate matter from the air and they can reduce the, say, noise pollution. They can modify humidity and maintain the climate. The trees prevent soil erosion, improve soil quality, and it binds soil particles. Again, the green belts or the trees, it can prevent the water runoff. Factors influencing the design of green belts: climatic factors such as wind velocity, assimilatory capacity of the ecosystem, height and canopy of trees, topography, area of the available land, soil and water quality, nature and extent of pollutants, distance from the source. Here we are discussing on the factors that influence the design of the green belt. So whenever we are going to develop a community forest, we have to design it. We have to select what type of trees to be planted and where to plant it. And you have to study the quality of the soil, also the quality of the water, and what type of the pollutants are to be removed. So what is the distance from the polluted area to the community forest, etc. So there are certain factors that we have to study before developing a green belt. Assimilatory capacity. Assimilatory capacity is the ability of an ecosystem to absorb pollutants without detrimental effects on the system. I repeat, assimilatory capacity is the ability of an ecosystem to absorb pollutants without detrimental effects on the system. The term assimilatory capacity has been used interchangeably with ecosystem capacity, receiving capacity, and absorptive capacity. That is all in this particular session. You are given the assignments. Number 1, Cottrell electrostatic precipitator. So number 2, zoning and green belt. So you have to briefly discuss on these 2 points. The last date for submitting the assignment is November 5, 2020. Thank you.